If you're just joining us, we talk about Lance Armstrong and the collapse of ethics. If you missed that, everything is going to be online, youtube.com/kababayanla18. Still so many hot topics. Beyonce, did she or did she not lip sync? That's still to come here on the show. But before that, it's Immigration Update for you, brought to us by American Dream.
This American Dream segment is brought to you by Aquino & Lowe Law Firm, answering your immigration questions.
Attorney Richard Lowe once again joining us on Kababayan LA. Hello.
Hello.
So Lance Armstrong, Beyonce, another hot topic is Matay Teo and the girlfriend hoax, and he just finally admitted that.
Apparently he knew that it was a hoax sometime early in December, and he had done 2 or 3 interviews after that saying that it wasn't. So
it's a love affair.
Oh, well, for him, yes. Obviously, for her, no.
And that's what we're talking about now. You know, February is just a few weeks away. People want to get married. And when people do get married, when people fall in love, what does immigration got to do with it?
Well, of course, as a U.S. citizen, you can petition for somebody to come to the United States to marry you. You can petition your fiancé. And this is convenient for people who, perhaps like Mateo, had met online.
Mm-hmm. Just in case, a real girlfriend, though.
Just in case it's real. You know, one thing the immigration law does provide is that you do have to actually meet the person. So it's not, it's a little different than his situation.
Do all couples need to go through an interview? Because I hear the interview can be very invasive.
Well, it's a little bit different interview than if you had gotten married. The fiancé interviews are usually a little bit lighter. They're just looking, because the law is basically saying you need to have met and then have a bona fide intention to come to the United States and marry. So where you see problems is just like normally if you have big age differences.
Okay, right.
If you have cultural differences,
yes.
You know, those can cause problems at the interview.
I hear of people, and it's, you know, it's common practice. People here would write letters, find pen pals from the Philippines. Is that considered meeting, or do they have to meet face-to-face?
They have to meet face-to-face. Pen pals, that's very cute. It's done email now.
How email calls?
Yes.
But how often do they need to have met? Maybe once is enough?
Just once. They just need to have met once within 2 years of filing the petition. So what often happens is that people will begin conducting an online relationship, if you will, and then the petitioner will fly out to the country, in this case Manila, or somewhere in the Philippines, and meet the family, maybe for a week or so, and then come back to the United States and then file the petition.
And the requirement is they need to get married within 90 days of the petitioner getting here?
That's right, yes.
Okay.
So that's part of fulfilling the bona fide intention to marry, is that you have to get married, actually married, within 90 days of coming into the United States.
And what if the fiancé has children? Can the children also come here?
Absolutely. The children, in this case, ride with the beneficiary, the fiancé, unlike a petition for a wife or a U.S. citizen, where you would have to petition each individual child. Here, they're accompanying the fiancé into the United States.
It's actually easier.
If you have children, it can be easier in that way, yes.
Right, okay. But then this is only when the petitioner is already a U.S. citizen.
That's right.
What if the petitioner is a green card holder?
It does not apply. A green card holder cannot petition their fiancé.
And this is only if the petitioner comes from, the fiancé, the person being petitioned, is from the Philippines. Or what if they're already here?
Yes, that's right. If they are here, you cannot do a fiancé petition while somebody is in the United States. That's not part of the process. You have to actually be outside of the United States and consular process in order to come in as a K-1.
What do you advise people do then if the fiancé is already here, say on a tourist visa or, you know, something else, a different kind of visa? If
the person is here in the United States and they fall in love and then get married, you just get married. That's what you're supposed to do, right? I guess. So if that's their intention, they could go through the fiancé petition process, but the fiancé would have to return home. And sometimes that's beneficial when people have their lives to wrap up, work or family or whatever. They can take that opportunity then to wrap that up and come back as a fiancé.
And you talked briefly about this earlier. What do immigration officials look out for?
Well, like I said, they're looking out for cultural differences. If the fiancé doesn't speak English and the petitioner doesn't speak, for example, Tagalog, then how are you going to communicate?
Exactly. Well, Google Translate if you're emailing. Petitioner cannot have been convicted of a specified offense against the minor.
Yeah, this is part of the Adam Walsh Act, where they were trying to limit the exposure that petitioners would have to children and take advantage of that. So if you have basically any crime that involves a sex crime involving children, you're not going to be able to get that petition approved.
Which brings us to the next one. Fiancé informed of certain crimes committed by the petitioner. So the petitioner should be disclosing all this to the fiancé.
Yes, you would hope that the petitioner had already had this discussion, but the government will have that discussion with the fiancé if he has not. And this is, again, in trying to prevent abusive relationships, domestic abuse here in the United States. And the government does provide the fiancé with classes and with pamphlets and with information about domestic abuse in case that does happen while they're here.
Okay, in case this happens, what is the relief to the person being petitioned? So you're petitioned by the petitioner to get here, and then the petitioner decides not to marry you and breaks up with you. What happens to you?
Yeah, that is a really problematic situation, and especially in the situation where you don't get married to the individual. If you get married to the individual, there is some relief, but if you don't get married, you're kind of stuck, and really the only relief you have is to return home.
All right, and start checking online again.
And start checking online again, yes.
Or maybe you can call Aquino and Lowe, attorney Richard Lowe. They do face-to-face consultation at their office, number on the screen to get your appointments ready. Also, they do phone consultation and email consultation. Thank you so much, and more power to you.
Thank you.
Travel when we return on Kababayan LA. Don't go away.